Hello and welcome back, or welcome if you're new. If you're new here, my name is Elena, homeschooling mama to 3 kiddos. I clearly need to do something with my hair. We talk about everything: homeschooling, homemaking, all the things in between, including books. So today we're going to talk about what I hope to read, what I'd like to read, what my inspiration to read is, what my goals, my dream, I can't think of any more words for this, what I think my to be read list is for the rest of the year. And then I'm going to narrow it down because, as you'll quickly see, I don't think I'm going to get through them all. So what I'm going to narrow it down to, and then we'll see if we even get through those. Let me share with you the series that I wanted to read. This is just one bookshelf, but I had this great idea that I would, over the holiday season, reread the Harry Potter series. Oh, by the way, is this not, I'm so proud of this set that I have. But I haven't even got through the first one yet. And then I found a podcast. I will link it for you so you can take a look at it here. I've not listened to it, so I don't know how good it is, or not good, or exceptional, or whatever. I don't know how good it is. So I thought, oh, won't that be fun to reread and listen to the podcast, because it breaks it down. I think they discuss like chapter by chapter. But again, at the time of filming, it is almost, we are about like a week and a half to 2 weeks into November. And like I said, I've not even cracked the first one yet. And I'm a homeschooling mom to 3. I'm not sure I have enough time to get through these plus more. So we'll see. Maybe I'll get through 1 or 2. I don't know. I just thought over the holidays this would be a great read because, I don't know, something about the Harry Potter series kind of reminds me of the winter or Christmas season. Maybe because there's always like a winter season while he's at school there. But that's the first series. I have another series that I want to finish. The next series that I wanted to read is the Disney Descendants series. So we did start a reading challenge. I think we started it in the summertime. I will link that for you up in the cards in case you're interested in seeing it. I thought by giving arms like plenty of time to do the reading challenge, it would be less stress, or less, it wasn't stressful at all actually, less pressure, but I think I gave us too much time to finish it. So if I ever host another reading challenge again, I will definitely do a shorter time frame. So I wanted to finish reading all of these. I got through the first one and I'm about halfway through the second one. So that means I still have the rest of this plus these 2 to go through. Plus I think I wanted to read like 2 or 3 other books that kind of went along with the challenge. The challenge was to reread all of the books, and bonus challenges were to read either spin-offs or the original fairy tales of the characters based on the book. So Maleficent, Sleeping Beauty, those, you know, that, Snow White, I think we even included Ursula. Check it out. I'll leave the link down below for both the Discord and the Storygraph challenge. But there were extra books in there that I wanted to read as well. So these aren't series books, but my son gave me these books because he read these for school, I believe last year. We got to talking and he was like, you should read these too. The first one was The Westing Game, and I had actually mentioned this to him that, oh, I've never read that, but I've seen it around. So that was on the list. I still haven't touched it. The next one was The Giver. A lot of people read this in school, but I was not one of them. We probably read something else when I was way back when in high school, but this was not one of our required readings. So I didn't read it, and I've never picked it up, but my son read it. We talked a lot about it. I know the gist of it. In fact, we were going to watch the movie based off the book, but we didn't get around to that. So these 2 books are also on the list. I should just start the pile so you can see how big this is actually getting. Non-fiction books. I'm kind of jumping all around, but it's what I do. Purchased Atomic Habits because I'm one of the few people I think in the world that hasn't read this, and I just was in that get functional, get stuff done type of mode, and my library had a hold on it for like a million years, not a million years, total exaggeration, but a very, very, very long time, and I found a great price for it at Walmart. So I went ahead and I picked it up. I haven't touched it yet. It's been a couple months. I probably would have already gotten it from the library had I just stayed on hold, but I canceled my hold. So this is another book that I'm hoping to read, but my heart right now and my soul, it just feels like I've been on this, I keep saying like it feels like I've been on this hamster wheel since September, but it really just feels like I've just been treading water and I cannot like catch up to life. And what I really want is to get back to our slower living type lifestyle that we had for a little bit. It feels like we've kind of lost that somewhere along the way. So another book that I was thinking of picking up that I've had on my shelf but I've not completed, I've started a couple of times, is Rhythms of Renewal. I don't know if this is going to focus on the book. And this book kind of just teaches you to trading stress and anxiety for a life of peace and purpose. I think I actually had this book on one of my goals video that I wanted to try to pick up next, and I didn't do it. The other book that is kind of along those lines is Risen Motherhood, Gospel Hope for Everyday Moments. I've picked up this book a couple of times and started it, but never quite finished it. I've picked up this book and I think maybe read like a few pages in, and then for one reason or another, I just put it back down. And I don't know, I'm like that sometimes with books. 3 more to add to the pile. I also purchased this year What If Love Is the Point? And this is by Carlos and Alexa Penavega. They are childhood stars in their own rights. He was in a band. She was in a lot of the she was in the Spy Kid movies. I really started to follow them more when they actually started doing their vlogs on YouTube, and I got to know them as adults a little bit more, and they live out their faith openly, and them being in fame and how that kind of balances out and that kind of thing was really interesting to me. And so when they wrote a book, the little blurb is living for Jesus in a self-consumed world, and I just thought, oh, what a great story to read, just wanted to hear more about it. I think it is written where he will do one chapter and then she'll do the next, and then he writes one and she writes the next. So I picked it up. I only got 6 pages in and I had to put it down because of the move, and I've not picked it up just yet again. Okay, let's jump back into recommendations from family members. My mom reads, and I mean, my family all knows how to read. My mom's a reader. She enjoys reading. You get what I'm trying to say. So she sent me The Unhoneymooners. I know this book has been around for like ever. It's like an old book that people have, I don't know when it came out, but people talk about Christina Lauren and her books. I know she has other books after this. My mom sent this to me, oh my gosh, maybe at the beginning of the year. I haven't picked it up yet. Sorry, Mom. I picked it up, but I just put it back on the shelf. So I've not read it. But I want to. And then she also just sent, she read this, she liked it, she sent it to me. She also read this, and she asked if I had read it. I said no. She kind of wanted to talk to me about it, but I hadn't read it yet. So she's like, I'm gonna send it to you, you read it, and let me know what you think. I'm like, sure, yeah. So I need to get through this one too. This one is I'm Not Your Perfect Mexican Daughter. This one I did realize in going through my digital books on the library, I did check this out once as an ebook version from the library, and I started it, but for some reason I didn't finish it. I don't know if I DNF'd it because I wasn't interested in the story, or I DNF'd it because I just didn't get around to it. Because sometimes I will check out ebooks from my library, and then I'll be so into reading like physical books that I'll forget that I have the books on my phone. That's where I'm doing the ebook reading. So I didn't finish it for whatever reason. So these 2 books are books that I want to read as well. And then speaking of the library, this is one of our many library books, bags that we use. It's a Trader Joe's bag, but I just think it's funny because it has like pickles on it, and we love pickles, so I had to get it. Anyways, it's a great canvas bag to carry to the library in case you're looking for a library book bag. I went to the library Who leaves the library without checking out books? I went for my kids. I came out with more books. Picked up this Harley Quinn Reckoning book. This is from the DC Icons. I did read the Catwoman in this series and I liked that one. I'm waiting for my library to see if they're going to come out with if they're going to get the Wonder Woman part of the DC Icons. But we picked this one up. My son already read it. He said, actually he didn't say much about it. I asked him, how'd you like it? He said, he's more of a Joker guy, not so much Harley Quinn. So, but I have it and I need to read it. I've already renewed it once. So I need to read this before I turn it back in. I also checked out Finding Dorothy because I had this on hold and then we were going to move. So I couldn't pick it up. I could have picked it up from the library, but I didn't want it to get lost in the shuffle of moving. So I didn't. I put it back on the shelf. I took it off my hold. And then this last trip to the library, it was on the shelves. So I was like, oh yeah, I forgot. I wanted to read this. So I picked this one up too. Ask me when I think I'm going to have all these times to read. I don't know. The next one that I picked up, Hands-Free Mama. This is another book that made the rounds in the people that I follow and stuff. A guide to putting down the phone, burning the to-do list, and letting go of perfection. That apparently was a hard word for me to let go of. Letting go of perfection to grasp what really matters. I mean, yeah. So, another one. And then, before I called you mine, this was just an impulse that I pulled off the shelf. I don't know, maybe because I thought I didn't have enough books on my to-be-read list. I don't know. Before I Called You Mine by Nicole Deese. This one is... This book is about Lauren Bailey. She's a romantic at heart, but so far, of course, she's not been lucky in love. She is a first grade teacher in Idaho, and her love of children has led her down the path of international adoption. I'm just kind of going over the blurb in the back here as quickly as I can, because I feel like this video is going to be a long one. She decides she's going to remain single for the unforeseeable future, and of course, that's when she meets someone. Joshua Avery. Joshua Avery is a substitute teacher. Joshua Avery is a substitute teacher by day, but Lauren, of course, finds his passion for creating educational technology as fascinating as his antics in the classroom. She does her best to downplay the romance, but will it work? Who knows, right? So, pick this one up as well. Now, by the time this book comes out, the readathon will already be over, or the readathon, the reading challenge, the words, they're hard for me right now. So there's a Gilmore-a-thon. I think that's what it's called. And they are, so the hosts are at Darling Desi, at Liv's Library, at The Literary Lane, and at Bookables. Those are just their Instagrams that I read off. But they are hosting a Gilmore Girls readathon, and the dates were the November 7th through the 13th. So like I said, I think that by the time my video comes out, the readathon will be over. But I wanted to give it a go because the day that the readathon started, my library, I was on hold for the group read. And the group read book, which was As Seen on TV by Meredith Shore. So I had it on hold the day the readathon started, or I think the day before. My turn came up on the hold list. So I felt like it was kismet. It was meant to be. I was supposed to do the readathon. So I tried to pick books that would work for multiple prompts in the readathon because, like I said, my TBR list is growing by the second. So I have, for that readathon, As Seen on TV, which will cover the fall winter prompt. It also covered the group read prompt. And then they had another prompt, which was Small Town. Another prompt they had was family drama and Asian representation. The book that I picked out that will fill both of those is The Donut Trap. This is another library book that I picked out by Julie Tu. I hope that I'm saying that right. I tried to look it up, but I still could have got it wrong. So this one is about Jasmine Tran. She's landed herself behind bars, Maple bars, that is, get it? So we love a good fun. She has no boyfriends or job prospects. She comes home to help at her family's donut shop And of course, romance ensues. Alex Lau. He's not only successful and easy on the eye, but to her parents' delight, he's also Chinese. He's everything Jasmine should wish for until a disastrous dinner reveals Alex isn't as perfect as she once thought. Worse, he doesn't think she's perfect either. So it says, with both sets of parents against their relationship, a family legacy about to shut down, and the reappearance of an old high school flame, Jasmine must scheme to find the solution that satisfies her family's expectations and can get her out of the donut trap once and for all. So I picked this one up to read for, like I said, to cover those 2 prompts. Plus, I actually had just picked it up from the library and then realized, ooh, it'll fit these prompts. Another sign I should be doing this readathon. Another book that happened was just, I kind of just tried to see if I could make it fit into the readathon because it was one that I had checked out from the library, was My Stubborn Heart by Becky Wade. Oh, I've not read any Becky Wade books before, but Amanda over at Book Lover Amanda, if you've ever heard her say Becky Wade, I'm not even gonna try to imitate it because I will do it no justice. But she really likes this author, and all I could hear in my head was her saying the name, and this was the only book that my library had by Becky Wade. So I picked it up. I do need to look again to see if my library has any more by her because I just finished this book up, and it was the sweetest book. I will say, towards the end, I was kind of giving up on it because it took a turn, and I was not happy with the way Becky was leading our characters. I was like, no, this is not supposed to happen. That's not how this is supposed to go. If you've not read it and you like romance novels, and it just, there is faith involved in it. It was good. It was good. This is about Kate Donovan. She goes with her grandmother to restore a house that belongs to her grandmother and the family, and they go to restore it, and Kate's kind of burnt out from her job, so she takes this 3 months kind of sabbatical and takes it as a sign from God that this is her time to just rest and reflect and decide what her next step is, where God wants to take her next. The contractor that ends up helping them is an ex-hockey player whose wife passed away, and he is hurt and withdrawn, and it just kind of goes through where Becky is the author, where Kate wants to draw out Matt, who is the hockey player. Kate wants to draw out Matt from the shell that he's kind of closed himself into, and it follows them and what ensues. And I won't say any more because I think you should pick it up if you like those types of stories. I really like this book. I'm definitely going to look for more Becky Wade books. So thanks, Amanda, for the referral. I like that I'm like, Amanda, like we're friends. She has no clue who I am. So this book, though, will cover the complicated love interest and leaves on the cover prompts for the Gilmoreathon book. There was 1 prompt left. Well, there's 2 prompts, but the last prompt was to bake a fall treat and watch your favorite episode, so it's not a book that I need to read. But the last prompt was small town. Pick a book that takes place in a small town. So let's see if I can say this without complicating you too much. That is for the Gilmoreathon Readathon. There's also another year-long readathon that I am doing on Storygraph that I've talked about. It is the Owls. It is the Harry Potter where you read. It's like it's a year-long thing. I'm gonna put the name up for you. I mess it up every time I try to say it out loud, or I have to like look down at my phone and say it. Anyways, I have a book that is for one of the prompts on there, as well as the small town prompt for the Gilmoreathon, and it is George Orwell's Animal Farm. It's not a big book. It's not long at all. My version, 139 pages, but I've not read it, and it's a classic, and I feel like why not add another classic to my repertoire? Also, I don't know, Animal Farm, 1984, think very relevant things that we should be reading and realizing and looking, but that's just how I feel. So anyways, this is another book added to the to be read list. Also on the Owls reading challenge that's on Storygraph, that's just how I'm going to shorten it. I wanted to read the second book, Percy Jackson and the Olympians. This is the second book in the Percy Jackson series. I have the first 3 books. I read the first one. And yeah, I want to read the second one, but I've not gotten to it yet. So that is a lot of books. I don't think I'm going to be able to get through. I'm looking at them all over my floor. I don't think I'm going to be able to get through them all by the end of the year. What my condensed version is going to be is at least the first book in the Harry Potter series, the Percy Jackson book, Animal Farm. I already read this one, so that's off the list now. The Donut Trap, Return to the Isle of the Lost, because I started it, I gotta finish it. I would love, love, love to also get the other 2 books in the series done because I hosted the reading challenge. I feel like I should complete it. Plus, they're not hard. They're light-hearted small books. I think we could do it. I want to read the library books I checked out. I don't like to check them out and not read it. So these, I don't think my hand's going to hold all these books up. Plus, one of these. Can you see them? Ugh. Okay, hold on. Woo! One of these. At least one. Preferably 2. Actually, preferably all 4. But let's try to keep it real. So, I think what I'll do with these is put a poll up and see if you have any suggestions of which I should read, or which I should prioritize reading first, I should say. So if you're not part of my little family here, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. It's free. You should hang out with me for nothing but bad rhymes and puns. I mean, so I'll put a poll up in the community tab and see which you suggest that I should read. And if the poll isn't up yet, then go ahead and leave it in the comments down below. Actually, let me know what you think I should be prioritizing in this madness. This is a lot of books. In a perfect world, we just cozy up for the winter and read, right? So we'll see how many I can get through. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I hope by the time I edit this video, it's not too painfully long. If it is, I apologize. But thanks for sticking it in there with me. If you stuck it through to this far, give me like a stack of emojis along with your favorite beverage, drink that you like to drink while you are reading books, tea, coffee, an adult beverage, water, whatever it is. Let me know down below. Let me know if you've read any of these, if you have any more recommendations for me, because why not? Let's add more to our reading list, to our to be read list. Want to read list? Maybe I should have 2 separate lists. To be read this month and want to be read. Is that a thing? Can we make it a thing? Thanks so much for watching. As always, if you don't know, or if you just need to be reminded, may you please be the one to tell you you are deeply and truly loved and so, so appreciated. I truly, truly appreciate you spending your time and hanging out with me here. Thank you so, so much for watching. No problem, right? Could totally do this in a month and a half.